Welcome to the broadcast of news at 9 p.m. on Psalm TV, the pulse of the nation. I am Abram Minor Judah. Here are the major headlines. Reverend Dr. Gideon Paramalam calls on federal government to end Leah Sharibu's 7-year captivity. Taraba State joins the global community in commemorating World Social Justice Day. Senate summons security chiefs over alleged Boko Haram funding. Trump calls Zelensky a dictator as rift between two leaders deepens. Nigerian Boxing Federation rejects transgender. Now, the news in full. Reverend Dr. Gideon Paramalam calls on federal government to end Leah Sharibu's 7 years captivity. Renowned clergyman and peace advocate Reverend Dr. Gideon Paramalam has renewed calls for the federal government to intensify efforts to secure the release of Leah Sharibu. The Dapchi schoolgirl remains in captivity 7 years after abduction by Boko Haram terrorists. Leah was kidnapped alongside 109 other students from Government Girls Science and Technical College Dapchi, Yobe State on February 19, 2018, remains the only victim still held captive for refusing to renounce her Christian faith. Speaking in Jalingo, Taraba State, during an event marking the 7th anniversary of her adoption, Reverend Dr. Paramalam expressed concern over the prolonged silence from the new administration regarding their plight. The preacher passionately appealed to President Bola Tinubu and First Lady Senator Remi Tinubu to intervene and take decisive action. Reverend Dr. Paramalam also called on the international community to intensify diplomatic efforts to secure Leah's release and urged members of Boko Haram to act with compassion and humanity. He further commended the Nigerian Armed Forces for the continued efforts in Taraba State. Taraba State joins the global community in commemorating the World Social Justice Day. Dr. Felista Rarima Musa, Commissioner for Social Justice and Reintegration, acknowledged the state government's efforts in upholding social justice principles, particularly under the leadership of Governor Dr. Agbo Kefas. The administration has implemented various initiatives addressing social injustice, poverty, inequality, and discrimination. This year's celebration theme, Strengthening a Just Transition for a Sustainable Future, aligns with the state commitment to promoting social justice and equality. The administration recognizes social justice as a necessary condition for sustainable development. To address challenges ahead, the state government has implemented empowerment programs for youth and women, reintegration initiatives for internally displaced persons, and peace accord facilitation efforts to promote social cohesion among communities. As Taraba celebrates World Social Justice Day, Dr. Musa emphasized that social justice is a collective responsibility requiring active participation from government, civil society, and individuals. She urged everyone to join in promoting social justice and equality, striving to create a brighter future where social justice and equality reign supreme, combating terrorism, and encourage them to remain steadfast. Yukuben Development Association of Nigeria demands apology from Prophet Jeremiah Musa JP and True Comrade TV. The Yukuben Development Association of Nigeria has written to Prophet Jeremiah Musa JP and True Comrade TV demanding an apology for their derogatory comments about the Yukuben community. The association's president, Sylvester Ibrahim Hassan, expressed deep concern and disappointment over the statements, which has caused harm and offense to the entire community. The association is instructing Prophet Jeremiah Musa JP and True Comrade TV to write a letter of withdrawal and apology to the Yukuben people within 7 days. The letter should acknowledge the harm caused by their statements and offer a sincere apology for any offense or hurt inflicted on the community. The association emphasized that as a prophet and a media outlet, they have a responsibility to promote unity, respect, and understanding among all people, regardless of their background or ethnicity. Their statement has fallen short of this standard, and it's imperative that they take immediate action to rectify the situation. Failure to comply with this demand will be met with further action, as the association will not stand idly by while their community is maligned and disrespected. Senate summons security chiefs over alleged Boko Haram funding. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Obong Akpabio, on Wednesday summoned Director Generals of the Nigeria Intelligence Agency (NIA), Defense Intelligence Agency (DIA), Department of Security Service (DSS), and the National Security Advisor (NSA) to brief senators on their alleged involvement of the United States Agency for International Development (USAID) in the sponsorship of Boko Haram terrorist group. Akpabio was responding to a motion by Senator Ali Ndume over a report in the social media by American congressmen alleging the involvement of USAID in the sponsorship of Boko Haram. I'm convening an emergency closed session with the National Security Advisor, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Director General of the Department of State Services, and Director General of the Defense Intelligence Agency to provide an immediate briefing on the allegations surrounding USAID funding of Boko Haram in Nigeria. We must get to the bottom of this matter and expect a thorough and transparent briefing from our national security leadership, he said. Akpabio said it's only through thorough investigations that the truth can be established, adding that even if America has not taken an obligation, hook, line, and sinker, Nigeria must also investigate to be sure. AGF EFCC talked of caution governors, LG bosses on treason fraud. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, and the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, at separate events yesterday, weighed in on autonomy for local government areas, issuing warnings to the state governors and council chairs. Fagbemi, also the Minister of Justice, condemned the continued illegal removal of democratically elected local government officials by state governors, despite the recent Supreme Court ruling declaring unequivocally that the act is tantamount to treason and must be treated as such. Speaking at the State of the Nation discourse on strengthening local government autonomy, organized by the Nigerian Bar Association, Fagbemi warned this flagrant disobedience to the Supreme Court judgment will have unpleasant consequences for the state as a whole should it persist. The AGF expressed concern over the collusion between state governors and their respective state assemblies to dismantle elected local government structures, replacing them with handpicked appointees. He lamented that despite the Supreme Court judgment allowing the illegal removal of local government councils, some states have continued to flagrantly disregard the ruling. The unconstitutional connivance between state governors and the state houses of assembly to willfully dismantle the democratically elected local government structures, replacing them with their stooges, is deeply troubling. Fagbemi said, while acknowledging that Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution grants governors immunity from prosecution, the AGF insisted that the federal government will not tolerate such violations of the Supreme Court decision. Federal government to bar 60,000-litre fuel tankers from roads, March 1. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petrol Regulatory Authority has announced a ban on 60,000-litre fuel tankers from operating on Nigerian roads effective March 1, 2025, to mitigate truck in transit incidents, some of which have resulted in infernos and several deaths. The agency also explained that no truck with over 45,000 litres in capacity will be allowed to load products by the fourth quarter of 2025. Speaking to journalists on Wednesday in Abuja, Ogbugo Ukoa, NDPRA Executive Director, Distribution System, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, said the decision was made in response to the increasing number of road accidents involving heavy-duty petroleum tankers. He said, The first stakeholders technical committee met today to drill down and put timelines for about 10 resolutions that have been taken on how to drive down the significant increase that has been observed in relation to trucks and transit incidents and fatalities. According to him, following deliberations involving key agencies, including the Department of State Security Services, Federal Fire Service, Federal Road Safety Corps, National Association of Road Transport Owners, National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, Standard Organization of Nigeria, the Depot, and Petroleum Product Market Association of Nigeria, Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, it was agreed that from March 1, 2025, any truck with an axle load of more than 60,000 liters of hydrocarbon will not be allowed to load at any depot. No evidence of U.S. aid funds Boko Haram, according to U.S. ambassador. He says if evidence is presented to them of such, they will immediately investigate along with Nigerian partners. Asserts that the U.S. government has not provided for real assistance to their partners and Nigerians like our friends like Nigeria. The government of the United States of America, USA, has said that there was no evidence that the United States Agency for International Development has been funding Boko Haram or any terrorist group in Nigeria. The United States of America has stressed that if certainly they were in possession of such evidence that the program funding was being diverted to Boko Haram, they will immediately investigate along with Nigerian partners. Speaking to journalists late Wednesday night in Abuja after meeting with the 36 state governors under the aegis of the Nigeria Governors Forum, U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria Richard Mills said that no nation condemns Boko Haram violence more strongly than the U.S. Recall that on February 13, Congressman Scott Perry accused U.S. aid of funding terrorist groups, including Boko Haram. Boko Haram is a terrorist group founded in 2002 by Mohammed Yusuf. The group's objectives included promoting Sunni Islam in Nigeria. Over the years, thousands of Nigerians have lost their lives, billions of naira worth of property has been destroyed, and many families have been displaced. Perry, a Republican from Pennsylvania, made this statement during the first hearing of the Subcommittee on Delivering on Governance Efficiency. Nigeria imports 20 million liters of petrol daily, federal government confirms. The federal government on Wednesday disclosed that Nigeria petrol consumption has dropped to 50 million liters per day, with local refineries supplying half of the daily requirements. The government said that the other half is being sourced through importation. It clarified that none of the companies involved in domestic refining was involved in the importation. Speaking to journalists after a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, Executive Director of Distribution Systems, Storage and Retail Infrastructure, Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Mr. Ogugo Ukoa, said petroleum importation became necessary to ensure that scarcity does not return to the downstream sector. Let me speak a little bit about supply. All of us have experienced a Unitary free of any scarcity, and let me just reconfirm that from year to year, we saw an increase in demand for PMS by 2021, 2022, up through 2023, just before the current administration came in. The daily PMS supply sufficiency was always more than 60 million, in fact, averaging about 66 million a day for PMS. And following Mr. President's withdrawal of subsidy, the announcement on May 29, 2023, we immediately saw a steep decline in consumption, and between then and as we speak, we've continued to do plus or minus 50 million. Of these 50 million liters averaging for each day, less than 50% of that is contributed by domestic refineries, and so the shortfall is in accordance with the PRA is sourced by ways of imports. Obasanjo wept when I informed him of his former ADC's death, says Oyinlola. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former governors Olagunsoye Oyinlola, Donald Duke, SCDS General Lucky Rabo and senior military generals both serving and retired on Wednesday night paid glowing tribute to the former Chief of Policy and Plans, late Major General Chris Jemitola, retired. This is just as Oyinlola disclosed that he regretted being the one who broke the news of the death of the late senior officer to former President Obasanjo, because Baba cried when I broke the news to him. I spoke to him in Yoruba and he shouted on the phone, "My ADC." I said, "Yes, sir," and Baba started crying. I felt sober that it was me who broke the news to him. I was later told that he remained in a very bad mood for the rest of the day. It will be recalled that General Jemitola slumped and died while playing golf at the IBB Golf Club in Asokoro on February 6. Paying tribute to the late General, Obasanjo said his ex-ADC was a loyal and committed officer whose work ethic was second to none. Represented at the well-attended service of song by ex-governors of Cross River State Jonah Duke, Ibadanjo Express, Obasanjo expressed ache and grief over the sudden death of Jemitola, saying Jemitola's dedication to duty was exemplary. Former Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabo said Jemitola was a man of character and action, a fearless officer, a dependable advisor, and a hard-working patriot who contributed immensely to the military profession and the advancement of the Nigerian state. Obasa denied alleged discovery of arms in his office. The impeached Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has dismissed reports alleging the discovery of a cache of arms in his office. Similarly, Speaker Moji Sola Miranda denied reports of her resignation, while the House refuted claims that 27 lawmakers plan to defect to the Labour Party. Obasa, in a personally signed statement, responded to the viral reports, described them as lies from the pit of hell, blaming his political adversaries for spreading falsehood. His reaction comes 2 days after operatives of the Department of State Services (DSS) was deployed to Assembly Complex, further fueling speculations about the crisis and the leadership of Speaker Miranda. Obasa, who is challenging his impeachment on January 13, dismissed the alleged arms discovery as a hatchet for lazy journalistic story. He also dismissed other allegations against him, including claims that he built a gate for 16 billion naira and purchased a Toyota Hilux for 40 billion naira. Meanwhile, the Lagos Assembly dismissed reports of Speaker Miranda's resignation and alleged mass defection as malicious and baseless. Chairman of the House Committee on Information, Strategy and Security, Ogundipe Stephen, insisted that such falsehoods were aimed at creating division and confusion. Lagos State Government hosts successful job fair, connects over 3,000 job seekers with employers. The Lagos State Government has taken a significant step in addressing unemployment in the state by hosting a job fair that brought together over 3,000 job seekers and potential employers. The event aimed on unlocking opportunities, breeding talent, and employers for a prosperous Lagos was held at the Marquee Hall Eko FM in Ikeja. According to the Commissioner for Wealth Creation and Employment, Akiyemi Ajigbotafe, the job fair was designed to provide graduates with opportunities to connect with reputable companies and showcase their potential. The event also aimed to bridge the gap between talented individuals and employers, ultimately contributing to the state economic growth. The job fair featured a wide range of companies actively seeking to fill positions across various fields. Job seekers had the opportunity to meet recruiters in person, ask questions, gain insights about the companies, and receive advice on how to stand out in a competitive job market. The Lagos State Government initiative is a welcome move given the state's reputation as a hub of innovation, entrepreneurship, and creativity. By providing platform for youth to thrive, the government is taking a proactive approach to reducing unemployment and fostering economic growth. Similar job fairs and career events are scheduled to take place in Lagos, including the Lagos Energy Week, Energy Tech Hub plus Career Fair, at the Traders Fair 2025 Nigeria. This event aims to connect job seekers with potential employers, provide the opportunity for career growth and development. Nasarawa State take leads in public-private partnership, trains NDAs to bridge infrastructure gap. Nasarawa State government has taken a significant step towards addressing its infrastructure deficit by training staff members of its ministries, departments, and agencies on the new public-private partnership framework. This initiative aims to empower NDAs with the necessary knowledge and tools to drive PPP for sustainable development in the state. The training, which was facilitated by the State Investment Development Agency, NASIDA, focused on the newly developed PPP manual and framework. This framework is expected to ensure the rapid growth and development of the state. NASIDA has been implementing PPP since 2020 to mitigate the infrastructure deficit and accelerate development in the state. With the support of the UK Nigeria Infrastructure Advisory Facility, NASIDA developed the Nasarawa State Public-Private Partnership Manual, the Nasarawa State Public-Private Partnership Fiscal Commitment and Contingent Liabilities Framework, and a disclosure portal. These documents are geared towards strengthening PPPs in Nasarawa State and enhancing the state's action for business enabling reforms. The implementation of PPP using a new framework has already shown promising results with stronger competitive bids, more efficient outcomes, and actual movement towards ongoing PPP success in the state. Nasarawa State has taken the lead in PPP, and it hopes that the gains will trickle down to other states and bodies. We now go for a commercial break, and when we come back, News at 9 continues.
Transportation movements to and from this program. For more information, please call 0706 767 3109. So are you ready for miracles and the fire that unites the church? Don't miss out. Announcer, El Buba Outreach Ministries International Movement, Ebomim Organizing Committee. When God visits a land, revival breaks forth and a new season is birthed. Taraba State, get ready for your prophetic visitation as Prophet Dr. Isa El Buba Sadiq ushers in the mighty move of God. Date, Friday the 21st and Saturday the 22nd of February 2025. Time, 4 p.m. daily. Venue, Deeper Life Campground, Mile 6, Jalingo. Please note that there will be free transportation movements to and from this program. For more information, please call 0706 767 3109. So are you ready for miracles and the fire that unites the church? Don't miss out. Announcer, El Buba Outreach Ministries International Movement, Ebomim Organizing Committee.
Welcome back to News at 9 p.m. We continue the news with the world news and sports. For the world news, Trump called Zelensky a dictator as rift between two leaders deepens. President Trump has spent the day attacking Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, calling him a dictator and deepening the rift between the two leaders. His attack came after Zelensky reacted to the U.S.-Russia talks in Saudi Arabia, from which Kiev was excluded, said the U.S. president was living in a disinformation space governed by Moscow. Speaking at a Saudi-backed investment meeting in Florida, Trump said the only thing that Zelensky was really good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle. The dictator's law quickly prompted criticism from European leaders, including German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who said it's simply wrong and dangerous to deny President Zelensky his democratic legitimacy. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer made it clear he backed Zelensky in a phone call to the Ukrainian president. A Downing Street spokesman said Sir Keir expressed his support for President Zelensky as Ukraine's democratically elected leader. It was perfectly reasonable to suspend elections during wartime, as the UK did during the World War II, the spokesman added. Zelensky is due to meet the American envoy for Russia and Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, on Thursday. He said it was crucial that the discussion and overall cooperation with the U.S. remain constructive. In a social media post, Zelensky said that peace could be more secure with the U.S. and Europe. Zelensky's 5-year term of office was due to come to an end in May 2024. However, Ukraine has been under martial law since Russia launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022 and elections are suspended. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson also criticized Trump's use of the word dictator, while German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock called his comments absurd. We will unite with the Kim Jong-un conspiracy groups, South Korea. On the cold January afternoon, a young pharmacy student, Shin Jong-min, waited restlessly outside South Korea's constitutional court as the country's suspended president arrived to fight his impeachment. While Yoon Suk-yeol testified, she chanted along with hundreds of his incensed and worried supporters who had rallied around him ever since his failed attempt to impose martial law. Release him now, canceling impeachment, they shouted. If the president is impeached and the opposition leader is elected, our country will become one of the North Korea and Kim Jong-un, Jong-min said, citing a theory popular among President Yoon's most fanatical followers that the left-leaning opposition party wants to unify with the North and turn South Korea into a communist country. At 22 years old, Jong-min stands out from the legion of elderly Koreans who have always feared and despised the North and make up the bulk of those who hold these far-right conspiratorial beliefs. That generation of Koreans now in the 60s and 70s lived through the Cold War and remained bitterly the devastating aftermath of North Korea's invasion in the 1950s. When Yoon declared martial law in early December, he played on these fears to justify his power grab. Without citing evidence, he claimed that North Korean communist forces have infiltrated the opposition party and were trying to overthrow the country. They needed to be eradicated, he said, and he moved swiftly to ban political activities and put the army in charge. Georgia's richest man said to be moving funds to avoid US sanctions. last spring when tens of thousands of Georgians were protesting against what they saw as a clear sign of Russian influence on the country's politics. Georgia's parliament rushed through amendments to the nation's tax code. Transparency International Georgia, the anti-corruption watchdog, wrote at the time that the change would allow tax-free transfer of assets from offshore accounts to Georgia will have been introduced to serve the interests of the country's richest person and former Prime Minister Bidzina Ivanishvili. He is the founder and honorary chairman of the country's ruling party, Georgian Dream. Now it is clear those changes were made for him, says senior economist analyst at TI Georgia, Beso Namchavadze. With an estimated wealth of $4.9 billion, Mr. Ivanishvili made his money in 1990s Russia in computing, metals, and banking. Most of his wealth is believed to be tucked away in offshore companies. Georgia was plunged into political crisis and daily street protests last May when the country's MPs passed the contentious Transparency on Foreign Influence Bill, often dubbed the Foreign Agents Law. Under this legislation, media and non-government organizations that receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad are to register as organizations acting in the interest of a foreign power. Submit themselves to stringent audits or face punitive fines. It was widely seen as a move to prevent US and other Western influence on the country. Now for sports news, Del Piero slammed Gasparini for criticizing Ademola Lookman. Italian football legend Alessandro Del Piero has called to the defense of Nigerian footballer Ademola Lookman, who was publicly criticized by his manager Gianpiero Gasparini. Lookman, who plays for Atalanta, was singled out by Gasparini after the team's shocking elimination from the Champions League. Gasparini's criticism of Lookman's penalty kick sparked a heated debate, with many coming to the player's defense. Del Piero, who is Italy's second highest all-time goal scorer, slammed Gasparini's criticism, saying it was human to make mistakes and the manager's words could destabilize the team. Regardless of the internal dynamics, I wouldn't have taken Gasparini's word in the post-match well, Del Piero said. Lookman's response today also showed this. He's having an extraordinary season, and yet you put him in the pillory, also risking cracking the dressing room. Lookman responded to Gasparini's criticism, expressing his disappointment and hurt. It saddened me on a day like this to have to write this statement, most of all because of what we have achieved together as a team and as a city, Lookman wrote. The tension between Lookman and Gasparini has escalated, with Atalanta senior management stepping in to mediate. The club officials who visited the training base in Zingonia to prevent further fallout. Lookman's future at Atalanta is now uncertain, with reports suggesting he could depart this summer. Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain, and Liverpool have all shown interest in the Nigerian international. Nigeria Boxing Federation rejects transgender. The Nigerian Boxing Federation, NBF, has now since opposition to transgender boxing in the country. Interim President Azania Omagege expressed concerns over the proposed visit of Boris Vandervost, President of the World Boxing Federation, who is expected to promote transgender boxing. Omagege criticized Vandervost's efforts, stating that they are not in the best interest of Nigerians. He also accused those championing the move of prioritizing personal interests over national concerns. The NBF president emphasized that the majority of Nigerian boxers are from the military circle, and President Bola Tinubu has banned transgender people from serving in the military. Omagege questioned whether boxers should be allowed to disobey the president ban in order to represent Nigeria. The International Boxing Association has also taken a stance on transgender boxing, announcing plans to sue the International Olympic Committee over the participation of transgender boxers at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Omagege commended the AIBA president Umar Kremlev for his support of Nigerian boxers and his donation of 500 boxing gloves. The NBF president also praised the president of the African Boxing Confederation, Iyasu Wosen, for his role in developing boxing in Africa. Eyimba Football Club bolsters squad with new signings. Abia-based football club Eyimba FC has announced the acquisition of new players to strengthen its squad for the remainder of the 2024-2025 season. The new signing include defenders Afolayan Peters from Atlant FC and Solomon Onome, the left back. Midfielders Opeoluwa Olufemi from Sunshine Stars, Gozie Ume and Kadi Olusukomi from Atlant FC have also joined the team. Striker Junior Lokosa and Nelson Michael, who previously played for Shashi Mene Kanema in Ethiopia, has also been added to the squad. Eyimba FC chairman Kanu Nwankwo expresses delight at the new addition, stating that they bring a wealth of experience, skills, and passion that will undoubtedly strengthen the team. The new signings are expected to bring their wealth of experience into play as Eyimba FC pushes for a strong finish to the season. That's all for now. Some TV is a 24-hour TV station. We are live every day. You can follow us on Facebook at Some TV and on YouTube at Some TV Live. I am Abraham Manajoda. Goodbye.